And then we happened upon to stumble upon the church when it was open, and there was a boy and a girl. There was one boy playing pop music in front of the church. The church was open, and it was the last day of the arts festival.
Yeah.
And I spoke to Heather. She was the church assistant, and just sort of as to ending the conversation with her, because I'm a painter, I love this music, and and I said, "Gosh," I said, "it's so close to what I'm doing. I would love to exhibit, but." She said, "Why don't you exhibit in the church?" I said, "Can we do that?" She said, "Yes,
Yeah.
sure." So straight away it was organised, and I call it the green men, not green man, green men, to refer and to sort of get the whole world in that church, because
Yeah.
it's not only the green men in England, but there's green men out in South America, in
Yeah.
Asia, in Africa, that we don't know the origins of, and have a tale to tell.
Yeah.
And so that's why I call it Green Men International.
Yeah.
And so you will see there different works. The earliest work that you see there is made in Sri Lanka in 1994. I got introduced as I lived for 6 months with a Brahmin in Calcutta in 1994.
Yeah.
I got introduced to Hinduism. He showed and took me to areas where medieval troubadours lived, Indian troubadours, the bowls.
Yeah.
I was taken to the fakirs. I was introduced to deities like Mahakali and Shiva. And I saw his daily worship in his house, of how he introduced a little boy of his maid into. He took him on his own son because his wife divorced him, and she took their son to the United States. He never saw him again. So he sort of adopted that son, and he introduced him to Hinduism as well.
Yeah.
And he was a Brahmin, so living with a Brahmin, and he was also an art lover. So I had my second exhibition in Asia after the one in Sri Lanka, in Calcutta, and that's where I met him. And he was so much enthused about my art. He said, "Why don't you come over and stay with me?" And we have every Wednesday I hold art meetings here in my house, so you'll get to meet other artists, and we'll talk about surrealism or expressionism, anything. We
Yeah.
debate it.
Yeah.
And so I got to know Calcutta first, and West Bengal is the cradle of art, I would say, in India, because if you have an exhibition in India, there's nothing so good as exhibiting in Calcutta, because the people, whether they're poets or intellectuals, come to your show, they sit down with you and talk about art all day.
Really. Yeah.
But if you exhibit in Delhi, it's all for the money. It's
Yeah.
the business mentality,
Yeah.
and it's quite different. So I've travelled throughout India, and painted in Rajasthan, painted in the Himalayas, painted in the south,
Yeah.
and I miss it very much. So now I'm sort of where I'm going to go next.
Yeah.
It will happen. I mean, end of November or half November, I'm going either back east or South America. I think it might be South America, because I really want to go and back into shamanism and learn more about it. Probably in the jungle, although the jungle is no good climate for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need the dry and the sort of desert kind of climate, and that's a different kind of shamanism all the way, because they're more linked to the pre-Inca civilizations.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I also have ideas with Valerie, because Valerie would love to go to Mexico. And in a few trances, actually, a voice spoke that I'm not from Peru, but from Mexico. And when I'm in trances, I used to chant things like Palenque, Yorenque, Palenque, Yorenque. And then I found out Palenque is a place of a lord that was discovered there, an ancient lord, a grave, a burial in Mexico. So maybe I am. But on the other hand, the latest trance I had in Cajamarca, in Peru, I did that with Cajamarquinos, people who live in Cajamarca. Cajamarca was the last place, actually the place where the last Inca was killed by Pizarro.
Right.
And so there's a lot of shamanism going on there. People link back to their roots. And the guy who is also an artist, I met him during his exhibition, painted also about Mother Earth and Incas, and so we really got straight away. Wow,
Yeah.
wow, you think the same. We are, and in a trance that we held. I mean, we organized a ritual with 5 other people,
Yeah.
and his wife, his young wife, said that she saw in me that I was the reincarnation of an Inca called Sayri Tupac.
All right.
And Sayri Tupac, I looked up on Google who he was, and he had been poisoned at the age of 9, probably by the Spaniards,
Yeah.
because he was like a puppet for them. They wanted to keep him as, because they could basically control him as an Inca for them.
Yeah.
Well, but these are the things, it's, if when you're in Peru, you're in magical country. Reality does not exist. All of my Indian friends, when I made appointments with them, was like, and they didn't show up. There was no show, or 3 hours later they came. I said, gosh, I've been waiting here a second time. I've been waiting to go. What are you worked up about? This is not Britain. This is not,
Yeah.
this is magic. We live in magic time.
Yeah.
And they actually believe us. People believe in trolls. They believe that there are small gnomes living around the Lake Titicaca in holes and all that. They believe in sirens. And so it's amazing. It's just amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I realized when I came back with these stories here, my friends called me crazy. Do you really believe that crap? But
It must be really strange coming straight back here then.
yeah.
after,
Oh yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Do you sort of have to kind of change your mindset slightly?
It takes a while.
Yeah.
But also the other way around. I remember going on and off to India every year, and then staying like say 6 or 7 months in Belgium, and having to get used to people not saying hello. You say hello, nobody says hello here. Most of 9 out of 10 don't. I said, what's going on? What's wrong with these people? Where's their soul? Am I not a human being?
Yeah.
And I went back to India and came just out of the airport, arrived in New Delhi, got out of the taxi, and one guy was waving at me. I was like straight, do I know this guy? That was my European reflection again.
Yeah.
Do I know this guy? And I went up to him and said, excuse me, do you know me? Have you met before? I said, no, man, you're just not a human being. I say hello to you. And that was, oh yes, okay, that's India, right, okay.
Yeah.
The same goes for South America and Africa.
Yeah.
We've lost so much of humanity. We don't know how to live anymore.
Yeah.
And so probably that's what I illustrate in my paintings. I try to bring back the humanity and spirituality in my works. I also, I do digital works as well. So you can see like Che Guevara mixed with Jesus Christ in a portrait in the church.
Yeah.
It's called Che Cristo because Che Guevara is as popular as Jesus Christ in South America.
Yeah.
And they both had a social cause, right? They were kind of social revolutionaries.
Yeah.
And so on the one hand, if I do digital work, which I do more and more now, even some videos, because I'm tired of carrying my canvases around the world on my backpack. You see that one there? It's called My Land, or it's a Comanche Indian, Quanapaka, who comes out of out of a mist, saying, McDonald's has got it all. They've got all our land. So those are my social political works that I do. Whereas the paintings are more of what I produced actually now, which you can see in Wolverhampton. What I produced this summer in Stafford has to do with my experience with the afterworld in Phnom Penh. When my father died, the very same week, 350 young people died on a bridge, the Diamond Bridge, for a boat race festival that is held every year for 3 days. And they got stampeded to death for some reason. There was an incident. We don't know which incident. There's lots of assumptions about it, how it happened, what happened really. And that's when I thought, that's it. Because for 1 year I took a sabbatical when I left Ecuador. It was my last exhibition in Ecuador. And I thought, I have nothing more to say. Sometimes I have a trip, hallucinating. And I used to say, gosh, I don't need to paint. I don't need to paint it. It's only in my head, so why would I have to paint it in canvas?
Yeah.
What's the use? I have it in my head.
Yeah.
More colourful than I would want to paint it on, So I got a bit of, I have nothing more to say. I think I said it all.
Yeah.
And maybe I should concentrate on writing or digital images or something, which is easier. I travel around with my laptop and the heads, But then I stopped painting for a year. I got quite depressed here in Stafford in the winter because, I missed light.
Yeah.
I'm really sort of those people who need UV light all the time. And I went to teach in Cambodia, and that's it. You know, that was already February, later, no, November, December. I thought, that's it. I'm going to paint about the afterworld and my sort of, what do you say, a catharsis of my father's death, because I had his last words on the phone, and 3 days after he died. And that sort of inspired me to do digital sketches on my laptop, and I painted them on canvas here.
Yeah.
And they are until December. You can see them in Wolverhampton,
Right.
in the Quadrant Lounge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They're my biggest works that I made in the last 10 years. I mean, they're like 1 meter by 1.5 meters.
Yeah.
They're quite impressive. I must say, for myself,
Yeah.
it's a different style from that. I mean, it's more etheric, it's more mystical.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's next for you now then? You.
Well, I got like 40 pieces in museum in Peru that I want to know whether they want to exhibit them or not, because it's mañana. These guys don't get back to you. The idea was that I left my pieces in the museum, they would exhibit them. But then they said that the museum was in reshape and reshuffle, and I don't know say they ever taken them out. So I'm going to check that out. Then I'm going to pick up my works I left in Loja in Ecuador, and see if I can have another exhibition and send my works on. Because since this year I have an art dealer, an agent in Mexico, in Monterrey, and I thought maybe sending some of my works off to Mexico, and then maybe go to Mexico and see what I can get inspired with in Mexico.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would love to go and visit some people like the Zapotecs in Chiapas and see the pyramids as well.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's a dilemma for me. I really don't know. People ask me all the time. I just got an email today from my friend who lives in Thailand. He's a doctor turned artist, and he's a total recluse. And he said, how long are you going to continue hopping around the world? When are you going to throw out the anchor? And I said, I don't know. I really don't know. I think so far I haven't found my most beloved country, or the place where I want to live forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I must say I have difficulties coping with the violence in the Americas, and the noise. I get, as older as I get, the less I cope with noise and buses, transit, and I tend to look more to Asia for tranquility, meditation.
Yeah.
The feminine part in India, or the sort of Asia, speaks more to me. I any time in India I could walk past midnight and I would never fear for my life. Whereas in South America, we've lived there a year in an apartment. It was always guarded. You have dogs, pit bulls everywhere in Cusco. If your house has at least 2 or 3 dogs, they break in. If they know you're a gringo, or you're not sure if you leave your house next week when you come back, or even the same night, that your stuff will still be there. You can get held up in buses. They can kill you in a taxi. And it's constant. I just don't want to have that on my mind all the time. I just want to. How could I live there?
Yeah.
So maybe South America just for visits for a few months, and then come back to my base, paint here in Stafford.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm going to do. Paint here in summer and in spring,
Yeah.
and then go back when the winter comes to another country, another continent.
Yeah.
Hopefully one day there will be like, maybe it's my old age will catch up with me and say, you can't travel anymore. I do have more and more physical problems, like suffer from sort of rheumatoid and osteoarthritis and lower back pain. So I don't think that. I mean, I think traveling for so long, 30 years, has done a bit of wear and tear on me.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I would never. I don't regret what I've seen and what I've done. And I think if I had the chance, I would do it again.
Yeah.
Because it's just part of me. It's like breathing. And just as a child, as a child, I was put in a colony for a month by my father. First time when I was 7, that was in Belgium. And I remember that my father and mother went to Scotland when I was on that holiday colony. And I would scour each day the horizon of the sea and say, I see that packet boat there, that's my mother's on that one every day.
Yeah.
But then when I was 10 and 11, my father sent me to Italy with my sister and brother in different places. He could afford that as a postman. He was a postman all his life and became a painter. But I think that might have as well have opened up my horizon. Say, I want to travel. I love traveling.
Yeah.
You know, because I got fond memories of Switzerland, Italy, the Dolomites, and it's beautiful, beautiful places. And as I get here, we sometimes why not go and visit Venice or something, or you know, or Naples or other places in Europe. I've been sort of pondering about maybe getting to live in somewhere in Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
Because life is still cheap there.
Yeah.
England is, I must say, in Europe. As soon as I came back in 2001 with the euro, I mean, I didn't see the transition. I came 3 years after the introduction of the euro, and everybody in Belgium told me how people had become so cynical and greedy and materialistic, and everything was more expensive. And everybody said, "We envy you. Gosh, I wish I could do what you do."
Yeah.
You know, so it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't have a desire to go back to Belgium then? To live?
Just to visit. Yeah. I mean, if I hadn't travelled, you wouldn't see what's in the wall now.
Yeah.
The travel has made all my colours. All my colours come from Brazil and South America, maybe also North Africa and a bit of India.
Yeah.
But certainly most from the South American Indians.
Yeah. Can I just ask just a couple of details? You've got 2 children.
Yes.
You've got,
Yeah.
And what are their names? And
My son's name is Davi Tadzio.
Davi Tazio.
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Davi. It's the Portuguese for David. Davi.
Oh right, yeah.
And then Tadzio is Polish. It's Tadzio.
Z-I-O.
And my daughter is called Laura Lisa. There's a hyphen between Laura and Lisa.
And how old are they both?
My son is now 20 and my daughter's 22. My daughter's studying at university in Ghent. She wants to work with animals. My son is the more artistic one, but he's got issues, and so far he hasn't solved them.
Yeah.
I tried to coax him out, do something. He once sent me a poem that was in English. He's got a good grasp of English.
Yeah.
Don't know where he got it from, but so my daughter has my gift for languages. I speak 6 languages, so that's another of my talents that she got, and he's got also languages and art, poetry, and apparently also drawing. But I've only seen scribble of his a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And he still lives with his mum, but my daughter now on her own in student room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What over here or
In
abroad?
Belgium, yeah.
In Belgium.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And also you mentioned your book as well.
Yes.
What's the book called?
Have You Two Been Pacified?
Have You Two Been Pacified?
There's a second one that I've written also, but that needs to be edited more.
Right.
I've sent it to a couple of publishers in England, and they said, "I'm sorry, we had very good manuscripts years ago, 4 different books about Indians in the Amazon." And he said the first one we published never sold a copy. There's simply no interest for Indians in England. He said, so it's difficult to publish it.
Yeah.
But I take fragments out of it. I think I'm going to re-edit it again, because it's sort of a mix between, say, my travel journey and sort of reporter political observations that I made on the Brazilian South American governments. So maybe I should sort of cut it down to just a travel story.